You're a busy mum, homemaker, or someone just trying to get their home back in order. Maybe right now you're feeling overwhelmed by the piles of laundry, the clutter you've tripped over one too many times, and the constant juggling between family, work, and life. I get it. It's tough to stay on top of everything when your home feels like it's fighting back. But what if I told you that with just 12 simple steps, you could start turning your space around? And no, it won't be a magical fix, but it will be something you can actually do, no matter how messy it feels right now. Stick around because I'm going to give you the tools to reclaim your space, and trust me, it feels so much easier than you think. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to start your journey towards a decluttered home. It's not going to happen overnight, but these steps, they will make all the difference. Let's dive in. Let's take it one step at a time. Today we're going to break things down, and I promise you these small changes will have a big impact. So grab your favorite cup of tea or coffee and let's get started. Okay, let's just be real for a minute. I've been there, feeling overwhelmed by the clutter that keeps piling up day after day. I'd look around my house, and definitely still do, and it felt like everything was closing in on me. Laundry everywhere, toys scattered across the living room, and don't even get me started on the kitchen. My countertops were covered with unopened letters, random knickknacks, and old coffee mugs that I had no idea what to do with. And I tried so many different methods to get organised. Pinterest hacks, fancy storage systems, and even a few things I found on home improvement TV series. But nothing worked long term. I'd make progress for a day or two and then slip back into the same old habits. But here's the thing. Decluttering isn't just about cleaning up the mess in front of you. It's about shifting your mindset and making small, consistent changes. And once I realized that, everything almost started to click. At first, I thought the only way to deal with it all was to go big and to tackle everything in one go. But I quickly realized that that wasn't the way to do it. That just made me more stressed and discouraged. Instead, I had to start with the small stuff. And once I did, I began to see real progress. So I gave it a shot, but I had to start small. First, I tried tackling the living room. I wanted to clear the toys and clothes that were always in my way, but within minutes I found myself distracted. Maybe it was a notification on my phone or something in the kitchen that caught my attention, or a toddler hanging on my leg. But that's when I realized something important. Decluttering isn't about speed, it's about consistency. I also found that I needed a system to help me make decisions. You know, that potato masher sitting at the back of your drawer that you haven't used in a year? It was hard for me to get rid of things like that, especially when I'd spent money on them or had some memories attached. But once I started asking myself 3 simple questions, it became easier. Have I used this in the last 12 months? Do I love it? Would I buy it again? Once I started those 3 questions, I knew exactly what had to go. I didn't need the potato masher and that old pizza cutter I hadn't touched in months. Out it went. I wasn't making mistakes, I was simply editing my life. So step number 1, it's all in your mindset. Decluttering isn't about getting rid of your stuff. It's about making room for what matters. You're not throwing away memories, you're creating space for new ones. Think of it as editing your home, not tossing things out. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but what about that jumper that's been in the family for years? Or what about that antique that I love? You can keep the things that matter. Just let go of the things that don't add value to your everyday life. Step 2 is to use these 3 rules to decide what stays and what goes. Have you used it in the last 12 months? Do you love it? And will you buy it again? Trust me, this rule will save you from keeping the potato masher you never use or the old jumper you've been holding on to for sentimental reasons. And hey, if you're like me, sometimes it's about being real. Does that broken blender spark joy? Nope. Does that pizza cutter you use once a year get a second chance? Maybe not. Step 3 is to tackle the small stuff first. Don't overwhelm yourself with the whole house. Start with 1 drawer, 1 shelf, or 1 closet. Begin with the stuff that's easiest to get rid of. Things that are broken, out of place, or just taking up unnecessary space. See, those little victories, they add up. And guess what? You'll feel more energized to take on bigger spaces once you've conquered the small ones. Don't underestimate the power of starting small. Step 4 is to be ruthless when it comes to clothes. This is something I'm still working on myself. It's difficult when you've been through postpartum and pregnancy and then losing weight and gaining weight. But if you haven't worn something in the last year, try and let it go. Don't make excuses. Remember, the goal is to make room for things you love and wear regularly. Step 5. Let your children help. Yes, even the little ones. It might take a bit longer, but trust me, it's worth it. Give them a box and let them pick out their favorite toys and start teaching them how to declutter from a young age. Step number 6, everything in your home should have a designated spot. When something doesn't have a home, it ends up in random places, like those stray keys on the counter or the socks that always end up under the sofa. Take a moment to think, where does this actually belong? If it doesn't have a logical place, maybe it's time to let it go or create a system that works for you. And no, the random junk pile on the coffee table doesn't count as a home. Step 7 is to tackle clutter by category instead of going room by room. Why? Because you'd be surprised how much overlap there is between spaces. For instance, how many pens and chargers or random notebooks do you have spread across your house? You need to be grouping similar items together like books and kitchen gadgets or toiletries and declutter them all at once. It's easier to make decisions when you see everything in one place. Step number 8, this one is a game changer. For every new item you bring into your home, something else has to go. It's simple. If you buy a new pair of shoes, an old pair needs to leave. This rule keeps clutter from sneaking back into your life and forces you to be intentional about what you own. Think of it as keeping your home's balance in check, like a decluttering seesaw. Step number 9, if you're stuck on whether to keep or toss something, just create a maybe box. Put those hard to decide items into a labeled box and set a reminder for maybe 30 days. And if you haven't needed or thought about anything in that box after a month, it's time to let it go. Chances are you won't even remember what's in there. This trick takes the pressure of making tough decisions in the moment and just keeps things moving. Step number 10 is to save the sentimental stuff for last. Why? Because it's the hardest to let go of and it can slow you down if you tackle it too soon. Start with easier wins like broken gadgets, old papers, or clothes you no longer wear. When you do get to sentimental items, give yourself grace. Keep what truly matters, but let go of the rest. Memories aren't tied to the things, they're tied to moments. Remember, your memories will always be with you, even if that souvenir keychain doesn't make the cut. Step 11. Decluttering isn't a one-time event, it's a habit. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes every day to tackle one small area. Maybe it's a drawer today, a shelf tomorrow, or your car next week. Little by little, these small actions will add up and make a big difference over time. Think of it as like brushing your teeth. Small, consistent habits that keep things fresh and clean. Moving on to the last tip, step number 12. Don't forget to celebrate your progress. Every bag you donate, every drawer you organise, and every room you reclaim is a huge accomplishment. Take a moment to just appreciate how far you've come, whether it's treating yourself to your favourite coffee or just stepping back to enjoy your beautiful decluttered space. But please remember that this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. You're creating a home that feels lighter and calmer and more you. Now let's talk about those hidden spots, places you never see, but they are there. We all have them. I have a huge messy cupboard in my upstairs that is just chaos. You're talking the messy cupboards under the beds, the kitchen drawers that look like junkyards. What happens when you focus on those areas first? You may be surprised by what's hiding in those places. Those forgotten items are taking up space in your home and they don't even get the benefit of being seen or used. Stay with me, we will tackle that next. So you've tackled a drawer and a shelf and even that hidden junk cupboard, closet, wardrobe that you've been avoiding, and now you're starting to see real progress. But here's the kicker, there's one more step you'll need to totally change the game. If you want to know what that is, I'll show you in this next video. Trust me, you don't want to miss it, and I so look forward to seeing you there.